singing Christmas songs for all of you. What does it take to be...
All right, guys, just when you think that the Biden administration and the Democrats currently running the government couldn't get more fascist and dystopian, they do, right? As the Department of Homeland Security under Alejandro Mayorkas has announced the creation of a so-called Disinformation Governance Board, aka the Ministry of Truth, right? The government deciding what is true and what is not true, what is disinformation slash misinformation, and what is not disinformation slash misinformation. Now I'm going to give you guys the Biden administration's and Democrats' explanation for why they're creating this so-called Disinformation Governance Board. Now, their explanation for it is to fight disinformation surrounding immigration and Russia, and also the pandemic as well. Now, when it comes to immigration, they're saying that, well, we've had some immigration problems. For example, the Haitians coming to the border, because there's been some disinformation being spread on platforms like Facebook and WhatsApp that made these Haitians think that our borders was open, which is what led to a lot of them coming to the United States through Texas, right? We saw that situation with what happened with the Haitians at the border a few months ago. And ironically, the Democratic Party spread disinformation that Border Patrol agents were whipping these Haitians at the border, which turned out not to be true. Again, the irony of this story is kind of ridiculous. And let's not forget that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris during the campaign trail told immigrants to come to the United States. They told all the illegals, hey, the borders are open, come here, right? So they're blaming the illegals coming here on disinformation and not the fact that the president of the United States, when he was campaigning to try to become president of the United States, told illegals that our borders are open. And then we have Russia, right? Where they say, hey, well, you know, because Russia allegedly has been trying to interfere in our elections historically, we have midterms coming up, and all the disinformation that Russia is spreading in regards to the war in Ukraine, we have to establish this board because we need to fight back against that, right? Again, the irony here is that the Democrats have no problem spreading disinformation when it comes to Russia and their role in our election. I mean, they spent the last 4 years under Trump telling us that Trump was a Manchurian candidate, that he was a butt buddy of Putin, and that Putin helped him win the election, when that was in fact not true, right? Not true. They don't have any evidence to suggest that Trump and Putin were colluding together. However, they told the American people that that was the case. So again, we have the Democrats once again claiming that they're fighting against disinformation that they have no problem spreading when it benefits them, okay? And then the pandemic, of course, they want to prevent the spread of disinformation when it comes to the pandemic, as if everything that the Democrats have said about the virus, the vaccine, this pandemic has been true, right? When we know that in fact has not been the case. However, any smart person, anybody with common sense, anybody that knows the Democrat Party and their fascist tendencies knows that this is a slippery slope, that this is in fact a Trojan horse, okay? Because what they actually really want is to control the narrative. That's what they want, right? And they will use the government in order to do so. And I'm not entirely sure how this is constitutional, how this aligns with the First Amendment, when you have the government actively trying to control speech and what is true and what is not true. But, you know, hey, all I'm saying is this. Hopefully, this is temporary, that once the Republicans take back office, hopefully one of the first moves they make is to get rid of this ridiculous governance board here. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that they've made this and they established this after Elon Musk bought Twitter, okay? Because they know, well, that's one mainstream platform that we can't control anymore. It's time to step it up. It's trying to step up the fascism, okay? So, yeah, until then, the Democrats are going to try to weaponize the government to control speech. They're showing exactly who they are, who we knew they were. So, with that being said, the irony here keeps getting crazier, but I want to read about this so that you guys kind of understand more about what's going on and the response to this, and then go from there. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on Thursday defended a recently announced Department of Homeland Security effort to combat disinformation on issues related to COVID-19 and elections. Asked by Fox News White House correspondent Jacqui Heinrich for more information what DHS Disinformation Governance Board would be doing specifically, Psaki said, quote, "I really haven't dug into this exactly. I mean, we, of course, support this effort, but let me see if I can get more specifics." The White House announced its support for an effort from the DHS to crack down on what it considers to be online disinformation, aka we need more censorship, right? We need more censorship. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas testified Wednesday that a Disinformation Governance Board had been recently created to combat online disinformation, and Politico reported that Nina Jankowicz, who previously served as a Disinformation Fellow at the Wilson Center, will head the board as executive director. All right, so about this Nina woman, okay? Again, I'm telling you guys, the irony here is crazy. As this woman, first of all, is crazy. Take a look.
Information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared that intel from Ukraine, they're laundering disinfo, and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice, or vote. Oh!
Yeah. So that is the executive director of the Biden administration's Ministry of Truth. Now, at this point, guys, if you're not convinced that the Democrat Party is full of whack jobs, okay, they're full of people that are Google for Cocoa Puffs, batshit crazy people, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what more I can do to convince you of this, all right? I mean, I'm just saying. These people are crazy. They're insane. There's no doubt in my mind that that person is a fascist, right? She is pro-censorship, and she will weaponize this government initiative to wage war against opinions that she and the Democrat Party don't like. There's no doubt in my mind, because they really don't care about facts or actual real truth or objective reality. They simply care about anything that goes against the Democrat narrative. And the reason why I know is because Biden's Ministry of Truth executive director here actually has been caught spreading her own disinformation, particularly when it comes to the Hunter Biden laptop story, right? And we're actually going to watch a video of Ms. Jen Psaki addressing the fact that their executive director for the Ministry of Truth has been spreading her own disinformation.
There's been some criticism of the person who's been chosen to oversee this board. She had previously called the Hunter Biden laptop a Trump campaign product, seeming to discredit its validity or validity of reporting surrounding that. How can you assuage concerns of people who are looking at this person who's been appointed to this position and wondering if she's going to be able to accurately judge misinformation now that a lot of that reporting has been proven to be factual in some ways?
Well, I don't have any comments on the laptop, but what I can tell you is that it sounds like the objective of the board is to prevent disinformation and misinformation from traveling around the country in a range of communities. I'm not sure who opposes that effort, and I don't know who this individual is, so I have no comment on it specifically.
Okay. Jen Psaki says, I don't know who opposes that effort, right? I don't know who opposes the government establishing a Ministry of Truth in which they're trying to control speech, what is true and what is not true. I'm pretty sure a good amount of America, hopefully a vast majority of America, opposes this, okay? But again, the truth of the matter is that this Ministry of Truth is not about trying to combat disinformation. It's about controlling the narrative. This is why they appointed somebody that spread disinformation about the Hunter Biden laptop, because at the end of the day, they don't really care about what is true and what's not true. They just want things that are put out there that are favorable to the Democrat Party and what the Democrat Party wants, right? That's what's going on here. It's very obvious. It's very obvious. Amid her selection to serve as executive director for the newly announced board, Jankowicz, who previously served as a disinformation fellow at the Wilson Center, is facing renewed criticism for past comments she made regarding the Hunter Biden laptop story. Jankowicz has previously referred the laptop, which has been authenticated by multiple news outlets, as a Trump campaign product and suggested it was a Russian-influenced op. Again, that's the Democrat narrative, okay? This person is not concerned about truth. They're concerned about the narrative. Jankowicz attempted to clarify her October 2020 tweet this week, saying that she was simply live tweeting a presidential debate. Quote, for those who believe this tweet is a key to all my views, it is simply a direct quote from both candidates during the final presidential debate. If you look at my timeline, you will see I was live tweeting that evening. And she said back then, back on the laptop from hell, apparently Biden notes 50 former national security officials and 5 former CIA heads that believe the laptop is a Russian influence op. Trump says Russia, Russia, Russia. So, I mean, again, the question is, what do you actually think? Do you still think that the Hunter Biden laptop story is Russian disinformation? That would be the follow-up question, okay? And I hope that journalists do their job and ask this woman, hey, do you believe that it's still Russian disinformation? The answer to that question will be interesting, right? Members of Congress and critics on social media have blasted the decision to appoint Jankowicz and expressed concern she would not be an impartial director of the board. Quote, rather than police our border, Homeland Security has decided to make police an American speech its top priority. Republican Senator Josh Hawley wrote in a tweet, they're creating a disinformation board. No, really. And take a look at the views of the leftist radical running it. Quote, apparently this person is the new head of Homeland Security's Disinformation Governance Board. Washington Free Beacon reporter Chuck Ross tweeted, Republicans did not fund the Steele dossier. Yeah. So, with that being said, guys, the Biden administration is going full mask off when it comes to the fascist authoritarianism, okay? They're establishing a disinformation board because, again, they want to combat any narrative that goes against the Democrat Party and what they want to push on people. And quite honestly, guys, I'm so sick and tired of hearing the words disinformation / misinformation because like the words racism and white supremacists, it has become so meaningless, okay? It simply just means anything that disagrees with the Democrat Party, right? It's misinformation, disinformation, it's racist, it's white supremacy, it's homophobia, it's sexism, it's transphobia. Bruh, this is getting ridiculous. It really is. But this is just another sign of desperation, right? Before the midterms, now the Democrats are saying, hey, you know what? We got to now just weaponize the government to make sure that information we don't like gets censored, right? That is how desperate they have become. But again, I hope that when Republicans take back control of the government, that this thing is disbanded before it causes too much damage. That is my hope, okay? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.